My royal people, how y'all doing? This is your boy, your fam, Dr. G. Welcome to another episode of Living Single Podcast. Listen, this podcast was created by yours truly with the purpose of giving you talk therapy. We have 10 questions that all of our guests answer, right? Every guest comes from a different perspective, different experience. So their answer, their response is going to be different. But I guarantee you, you're going to receive some tips and tools. You're going to receive some nuggets to help renew your mind, transform your life, help you be a better single person as you're on your journey. We want to help you on your single journey. A lot of times we don't have people having that conversation, sharing with us things from their personal relationship. We look at them from a distance and we think everything is fine, or we think one thing or another without hearing where their mind is, where their thoughts are, where their relationship really is. So this platform gives you a peek into the lives of people that you would not normally talk to. And so I am so happy and glad to be here to, steer the ship with you. But I thank all the people in the background, behind the scenes that helping to make it happen. Thank you for Queen Nikki. Today, we have a special guest. Please introduce yourself. Tell us how old you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Well, I'm Dr. Marty, and I'm 70 years. I'll be 71 in December. So I have quite a bit of experience in many facets of life in these 70 years. Today, I'm a man of God. But my perspective, what I'm going to bring to the table is both sides of the fence. I've been married 3 times. I'm currently separated, probably heading for a third divorce. We're in 2 different states, 2 different mentalities, 2 different situations. And so that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. Well, we are so glad to have you here, and your 7 decades and 3 marriages of experience. And from being out there in the world to now in the Word. This is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be nice, y'all. Y'all get ready, because this brother is my big brother, brother of mine, good, awesome brother, man of God, a blessing, and I consider him to be a gift from God. But he is going to share from his truth, as you see in his introduction. He's not going to hold anything back. He's also a teacher, and he believes that in sharing from his story, his experiences, he's able to teach others. We know the word of God that others overcome through our testimony. And so because he stands on that, he believes in that, you can expect to receive something that's going to help make your life better. All right. So we're going to jump right on into it. Dr. Marty, there's something else I meant to say earlier about you, but it's going to come back to my mind. Oh, yeah, there you go right there. There go right there. I'm wearing this because I got to say to you, welcome back to the earth. You just said you was in 2 different states, so I'm like, I got it right. Make it feel good, man. Welcome back to the A.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's dive into these 10 questions. If any of you out there feel like you want to dive into these 10 questions, you got a perspective you want to share, let me know. I want you to be a guest in season 2. Let me know. Hit us up, 404-901-8591, or you'll see the information in the back at the end of the show. All right, Marty, let's dive into these questions. First question is, what red flags should a person not ignore when they are looking for a mate?
Well, back in the day, there unless you was just coming on the scene straight up crazy as a female, a lot of times crazy was acceptable because my vision was, I'm looking, if you find, you mine. So it wasn't so much about your mind as it was about your, you know, the rest of you. So it was, it was all about back in the day. I come from, look, my whole understanding of women was kind of messed up because in the early part of my life, I was doing a little pimping, a little, living for pleasure. Didn't have a lot of respect for women because if you pimping them, you ain't got no respect. You know what I mean? It's all about the money. And so my whole thing was that the red flags back in the day, which is also a red flag today, is that number one, if you ain't got no respect for me, that's a red flag. All right. If you come out straight up, ain't got no respect, you're gonna try to tell me what time it is. You're gonna and granted, a lot of things that women bring to the table is a result of how they was treated before they got to you.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean is that if they were in a controlled environment, one relation after another, by the time they got to me, they say, ain't nobody gonna control me. Okay, I'm nobody gonna control me. I'm gonna be calling the shots. And so when that comes, I'm like, yo, man, no, it's not gonna happen. Needless to say, I got into some situations like that, and they fail. But back in the day, because I wasn't God conscious, because I wasn't back in the day in the 60s, man, it was a whole different mindset. You know what I'm saying? It was revolution, down for this and that. And so red flags back in the day is that, and let me say this also. Where I came from, if you got to pay, you ain't got no play. Okay, so if a man, every time he approach a woman, he got to have money in order to get an invitation to paradise, he didn't have no game. Okay, so it wasn't about me trying to impress you with, cards and jewelry. My whole approach to women was, I'm an artist and your mind is my canvas. So I paint a picture and you fit right in. So it wasn't about, did I have a job? Did I have a lot of money? All that wasn't even necessary back in the day to get it to be in a woman's life. So the red flags from a male perspective is a woman that comes right out the gate, but she's not gonna respect you. Because without respect, you got nothing, man. That's a red flag. All
Okay.
that other stuff, the drama, the unpacking of luggage from messed up situation, you figure I can handle that because you're beautiful. So that compensates for all that back in the day.
Right.
So a lot of times you give them a pass on that. You didn't pay attention to the red flags because the other attributes that they was bringing through the table more than compensated in the beginning to go forward in a relationship. And I believe that even today, a lot of men go there. They like the package that is being presented. And there'll be all kinds of flags all over the place. But because they trying to get an invitation to paradise, they just say, well, that ain't nothing. I can handle that, right? Until they get in that relationship, and then, all kind of other stuff start happening.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay. One of the biggest things with you is when a woman shows you disrespect. That's a big red flag. And I must say too, and I've seen that with men. Respect is key. If a man feels respected and appreciated, he feels like the king that he is. And if he wasn't raised to understand that he is a king, he feels like one. He believes he's one when he's with you because of your respect.
yes.
And so that's good. I like that. Um, Moving on to the next question. You hit on it a little bit. What makes it hard or difficult? What makes it hard being single in today's society from your perspective? You see singles, you see people, you hear people. What makes it difficult? What makes it hard being single in today's society?
Okay. From my perspective, I now have a God conscience. I have the Word of God that helps me to navigate in terms of relationships. And so for today, Christians, especially uh, spirit-filled, born-again Christians, there's a lot of difficulties in dating because there's a moral clause that wasn't back in the day. So the moral clause is that, I can't, what can I do? What can I do? Can I sample it? No, I got to leave it alone. Some people say, if you're in the church, they'll tell you, look, you got to go to marriage counseling. You got to be with them for a period of time. Then y'all can hook up. And so these are challenges that it wasn't presented in my days. You know what I'm saying? So the challenges today is
So you
that,
say, you say counseling is a challenge.
yeah, to a
It makes
person,
it.
the reason why I say a counseling is a challenge, it's not a negative thing, but it's a negative to a person that's trying to, the only reason they with you because they're trying to get with you. Okay, so they don't want to go through, they don't want, if they're in the church and the pastor says, well, look, y'all got to go to 6 months of counseling, you got to get to know each other. And so what happened is, and I've seen that in the church, I've seen it where there was a couple, and what happened was they had already shacked up, but they didn't get married. So then the whole thing about now we saved and we want to get married, and so, but they weren't getting married. In fact, I even talked to the guy and I said, aren't you doing everything that you would do if you were married? He said, yeah. I said, then why don't you get married? So when they went to the pastor said, well, you need to go through some counseling for 6 months, even though they've been married. I mean, even though they've been together for 2 years. So the challenge is today depends on what side of the fence you're looking through, right? Uh, for people in the world, there are so many. Uh, you have challenges even with who you're talking to. You don't even know if you're talking to a man or a woman. You know what I'm saying? Uh, that's those issues. This whole thing about gentrification and men and women and they're so close and you you have so many challenges that we just didn't have, man. And then on top of that, you have a lot of women, if they've been single for a long period of time and they took care of themselves, and or if they raised their children, you hear a woman say, well, hey, I was a man and a woman. And I had to say, no, ma'am, you were never a man. Okay, you may did the man responsibilities brought to the table, but you ain't never been no man because you can't bring the man equation to the table. Okay, so you got those kind of things that you deal with. And so women nowadays, I feel sorry for a lot of men who because they're, and I'm gonna tell you another thing. My first wife, her daddy spoiled her right. Okay, so I had to find myself having to compete with what he was bringing to the table. This man had a bona fide job. He had money. They only had the only child. She was the only child. So I mean, every time I turn around, he buying this, buying that, buying this, and my bankroll wasn't that deep. Okay, so I had to deal with a situation where I'm competing against him. right? And so, it's like, no, I'm not. When I say I'm your daddy, I'm not saying like your daddy. Okay, we use daddy in a different term back there. Okay, but so I know what that's like. You competing against daddy got long dough and he lavishing you with all kind of stuff, bought a car and this and that. I'm like,
He was doing this while y'all were married?
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
And so what happens is, if you're in my first marriage, I married for all the wrong reasons. That's another thing. Don't marry somebody for the wrong reasons. Okay, don't even hook up with somebody for the wrong reason. Well, what's the wrong reason?
I was
Okay,
going to ask you that.
the wrong reason. Look, don't marry somebody because she just look nice. She's nice, coming in so nice package, 36, 24, 36. That is not a reason to marry somebody.
She's a brick.
Man, house.
House.
Okay, so that is not a reason to marry somebody. Now, in my case, I was caught up in some stuff, and she was going to testify against me, so I went down there and married her because I didn't want her to testify. That is not a reason to marry somebody. Okay, I was a menace to society before God slapped me and said, "Come on, huh? Come on, let's get it right." I was a menace to society. I ain't gonna lie. So that's the wrong reason. All right. So, but on top of that is
So
that
wait a minute. Let's not speed past this.
okay?
So you married her so that she wouldn't testify against
Against
you,
right?
right? Okay, and so it wasn't love.
No, it wasn't love. No, it wasn't love.
So wow, how old were you?
I was 28.
28 and scared.
No, I wasn't scared. No,
Or you
I
was you
scared
were
of love.
smart. 28 and smart.
Smart and so I thought I was. If I was smart, I wouldn't have got caught. So, but I was, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying was, if you're gonna be in the game, you know the consequences. All right. So I knew the consequences. I wasn't worried about that. But when I realized that the person that I was with was not part of the game, but they was in the game, but they wasn't part of the game. If you know what I'm saying, they wasn't street smart. So when we got you know busted and they separated, she started singing her head off. Okay, so now all of a sudden I'm in a situation. So I said, hey, let me go on down here. The lawyer said, you marry her, she can't turn against you, and everything cool. So that's what I did. So no, it wasn't based on love and all that.
Right.
And what I tell young people today
Mm-hmm.
is that without love, there's no foundation to build on.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to understand what love is. And that's the problem with a lot of people is they don't know what love is. Lust can look like love. Because when you lusting for somebody, that's a strong feeling. And you be talking about, look, I just can't, like Barry White talking about can't get enough of that good loving, just can't never get enough. So you have this strong desire for this woman and you define that as love.
Okay,
But that
okay, okay.
okay, you know what I'm saying? So you could go down the wrong path of calling it love.
I got
When
you. I got you.
yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Moving on to the next question. You got a lot. Oh, well, you got 70 years, so yeah. The you listening to the doctor.
Uh,
uh, say what?
no, go ahead. You said
Okay,
7 years,
okay.
decades.
Yeah.
Right.
7, yeah. So, what do you feel about having deal breakers before pursuing when you're pursuing a relationship? How important is it to have deal breakers and to stand by them?
Um, Deal breakers today, because I'm gonna go forward now. I would not even consider a lady who don't know my God. That's a deal breaker for me. I'm not talking about somebody that's a faithful churchgoer. I'm not talking about a person that was raised to go to church when they was young, and all their life, good people go to church.
I've had it.
That's a deal breaker for me, because I know that unless you have a relationship with God,
Mm-hmm.
just religious, and you're gonna keep running into all kind of situations, because with the mind of God and the word of God says, be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you're dealing with a carnal individual, they're not trying to transform their mind. They're trying to just be good. And in this world today, being good, you can be vulnerable to you can be lured away by the trappings of this world, right? Because you don't have the knowledge of the kingdom of God. It's not part of your vocabulary. It's not part of your way of thinking. You don't have spiritual lenses. So therefore you're walking with carnal lenses. You know what I'm saying? So the deal breaker for me is that I would have to find a woman that has a degree of knowing God, knowing having a relationship with God. To be honest with you, they say 3 strikes and you're out. I've been married 3 times, and I've come to the conclusion that I may not be marriage material.
Wow.
Because I'm not marriage material, I'm not eligible to be trying to be a husband to somebody, because in my lifetime, I haven't been a husband, quote unquote, in terms of a lot of the things that a husband should bring to the table. I wasn't bringing it to the table. So as a consequences, a lot of stuff was falling apart. I know how to be a man. I know how to be, how to navigate through things of life. But there's a lot of things about being a husband. If you don't have it, you're not going to exhibit it. You know what I'm saying?
So let's unpack that. What makes you have that stand that you are not marriage material, husband material?
Okay. Number one, uh, for me to be a good husband,
Okay.
I have to be a good provider.
Okay.
And at this stage of my life, I can only provide for myself right now.
Okay.
In times past, like I worked for 23 years as a Greyhound bus driver, and I went through 2 marriages as a Greyhound bus driver. But that's not a provider to me, because you can have the job, but you don't have all the other tools that makes a husband a individual that, like, I got your back when somebody when situation. I was the kind of person all the way back, even up till now, where I hate bullies. I hate people that try to manipulate people or jack people up. And so I would always defend a female from that perspective. But as far as the expectation of what she expected from me, like flowers and um, 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 taking a this and that and this and that, uh, that wasn't my forte. And I would tell a woman that in the beginning, I'm not that kind of man that, go out and get you flowers and stuff like that. And they say, that's cool, right? But down the line, they feel slighted because it'll come up, yo, never bring me flowers. Well, I told you I'm not like that. Should have been a deal breaker on their part. But anyway, so you feel what I'm saying? And
I see
so,
what you're saying. Okay, go ahead.
okay, and so, and here's the thing. If you don't pay attention growing up, what marriage and husband and father looks like, then you winging it in all these experiences. Okay, and the problem is that because you're a man, a woman would assume that you should be those things. They come from a position, oh, you got a nice job and you know how to dress and you got a nice car, so I know you know how to handle a woman. I know how you know how to take care of family. And the truth of the matter is, that could be the farthest thing from the truth. You could be in survival mode all your life. And in survival mode, you're trying to survive in every situation, but you're not building, right? You making stuff, you having children, you're doing all this, but you're not building because your foundation ain't right.
Okay. So if you told her at the beginning you didn't get roses and candy and you wasn't romantic like that, but she wanted it later, she expected it later, did you not, just asking you, did you try to be who she desired you to be, or did you say that ain't me, I don't do that?
No. Okay. I didn't say I wasn't romantic. I just said I didn't have flowers. Okay. I'm, I'm very.
You're right. You're right.
You
You didn't
can't.
say you was romantic without flowers, is what you're saying.
Okay. Right. But see, what I'm saying is, like, on special occasions,
Okay.
I buy cards, and the cards I buy would have to reflect what I'm really thinking. Because I
Okay.
don't even just buying a card. If
Did
I
you?
don't love you, I ain't gonna buy the card that says I love you if I really don't love you, because then I gotta back it up. Okay, but I can, see. And here's another thing, man.
You said you don't believe in just buying a card.
Look. Check this out. You say you're in an intimate encounter, and you really like the person, but if you use the word like, she gonna say, "Whoa, what you mean?" So, and keep it moving, you say, "Oh, I love you, baby," but the reality is, I like you, but you don't love them because you don't understand what love is.
Maybe it's the way you say it. You got to say, I like
Oh, I
you.
know how to say it, bro. I would say, I love you, baby."
No,
No,
not love.
I know how to say it. I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, I never said the word like because I know that would be a deal breaker in the minute of intimacy. So I
What
knew that.
I was, what I was saying is how you say it, man.
Brother, look, I told you I was an artist. Now you don't think I know how to paint that picture. So what I'm saying is, what I'm saying though is that we say things because it's appropriate to say it at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you really do not understand what love looks like, and you're not really trying to, because you believe love is the key that gets inside the door. So as long as you got the key to get in, you don't be tripping on the lock.
Okay. So speaking about getting inside the door, the lock to the woman,
Right.
um, the Bible says that a woman is a helpmate.
Mm, okay.
So what does that mean to you? And do you feel that either one of your wives was a helpmate to you? So what does that look like to you, helpmate? And do you feel like you've had that from either one of your wives?
Um, to me, if you don't respect me, you will not. Now, okay, let me say it this way.
Helpmate is what we're focusing on.
No, I know that's what I'm getting ready to say. A
Okay.
help somebody that helps me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it helps me. Somebody who, uh, and on my part, on a man's part, in order for a woman to help you psychologically, emotionally, you got to respect her, because she will come to you with advice. But if you don't respect her advice, you're not gonna let her help you, because you got a problem with not respecting the fact what she's trying to bring to you. Okay, but a helpmate is someone who is there for you. They got your back. and so the women that I had, the women that had my back, the women that would die for me, those were the women that was my down women when I was in the game.
I'm talking about your 3 wives.
Oh.
Do you feel like either one of your wives were a helpmate to you?
In their own way. In their own way, they were helpmates.
Not in their way. To you, when you were in that marriage, did you feel like they were your helpmates?
I didn't define their behavior. One of my wives always cooked. She always prepared a meal for me. She always did stuff like that. But what all 3 of them had in common is the lack of communicating. To the degree is, I should read your thoughts. Well, if I got to read your mind, I can always be a step behind you because you're not vocalizing what's really going on in your mind. You understand? So what happens, and I know men get either, and a lot of men might be that way where they don't communicate right. But I was the kind of man that I communicated because I believe that communication is the key to harmony. But if you can't communicate, then what happens is I got to keep reading you. And in all 3 of my relationships, it's like I almost had to. So them helping me was jaded or masked because of the lack of communications. That makes sense?
Okay, yeah, right. So what does helpmate, if you had to give a job description for a helpmate, if you were putting out an ad, helpmate needed, helpmate desired, what would be 2 of the job descriptions?
Okay. A helpmate would be a lady that would that lady would be she would help me in all the endeavors of our relationship. She would help me in finance. She would be she would bring things to the table that makes a harmonious outcome. We would be on the same page. We wouldn't be there wouldn't be contentions. It wouldn't always be this contention. A helpmate would be more inclined to be agreeable as long as I wasn't as long as being agreeable is not abusive. Okay, so if as long as you're not abusive, and again, I think that because unfortunately the 3 women that I married came out of very bad situations, so all of them brought baggage to the table that they had issues with trust, issues with communicating, and so those kind of things make relationships hard because you're reading somebody's body language and their body language is saying one thing, but they're thinking something else. So it could look like, it's like always being out of sync. And
So
I
why?
found that with a helpmate, I should never be out of sync. You should not want me to be out of sync. You should not want me to think things that I'm not should be thinking, which means you should communicate with me. But if you're not communicating with me, then you're not a good helpmate in that area because communication to me is key, man.
So why do you think you had 3? Was it 3 wives that was so similar, and you're that common thread? Why do you think? Do you have a type? Were you trying to be Superman? What was it about you that you think attracted the same type as you said?
What I think the first thing that attracted me to him, besides the physicalness,
Mm-hmm.
is that all of them came from a hurt position. And I felt that I was going to bring something to them that is totally different. Okay. And so that was the key right there. Each one of them came from really damaged, messed up situations, emotional, physical, psychological. And because I have a strong understanding about life and whatever, I felt that I could take a wounded person and make them whole. And
So you
so,
came in as saved today.
right. But what I found is that uh, a lot of stuff cannot be received if a person is coming in believing that. Example: if you define relationships or the relationships that will always have drama, if it comes any other way, you're gonna think, well, that ain't love. That ain't love. Love. There's drama. There's contention. There's arguments. There's disagreements. That's love. Says who? Well, that's what they used to. So when you come, and as a man of God, I'm definitely a man who believes in peace and harmony and joy. And so when I get with people and they don't have those because they got so much a backlog of drama because they don't know how to cast their cares upon him, for he cares for this. So they carrying it like a badge of honor. So
Right. So you feel that you saw this in each one, because what you're saying is you're saying the same thing about each one of the women, right? But you are that one person who was with each one of them. They didn't have good communication. They all came from hurt places. So your mindset, first of all, I think you said earlier, you didn't see these things as red flags.
right.
And
I saw them, but I didn't see them as red flags. See, when you say red flags, it's like warning.
You didn't see them as warning signs.
Warning. I just saw them as
do not enter. You saw it as something you could make better, or you could.
I could deal.
Okay. Right. And so, what would you say to somebody now who thinks like you was thinking? Yeah, what would you say to that? Huh?
Don't do that. Don't. Number one, number one, I would tell a person, a man. I say, number one, sit down with yourself and write down, figure out what is it that you want in a relationship before you get in it.
Need.
In my last relationship, I had wrote that down. I said, if I meet a young lady, I say, listen, are you raising kids? Yeah, okay. I'm not in raising kid mode. So I told her that's okay. Then I asked them, I would ask them, so my third wife, I took her through this. I said, are you raising kids? She said, no. I said, are you raising grandchildren? Because I would never want to take you away from that. Okay, I know the responsibility and how much all that is. She said, no. I said, are you 5 feet or shorter? Okay, because my first two was short and I had back problems. I didn't want nobody short. She said, no, I'm 5'4". So then I said, here, this is the last question. I said, are you heavy? I didn't want to hit. I don't want to be wrestling. Okay. She said, well, you just going to have to see me. So I did have some things going on that I, and so I'm telling man today, you better know. See, for instance, don't be getting with a woman that got 5 kids just because she's fine. And you are not father material. Okay? Because what you're going to do, as soon as you try to get in that situation because of her, and you start treating them kids wrong, she going to jump up in your face. These are my kids. You don't treat my kids like that. And so I'm just saying, for a man going forward, look, you better know what you want. You better know what you don't know. You might find out, if you be real, you ain't marriage material.
Wow.
But a lot of men don't want to do that. Why? Because they chasing the cat.
Wow.
Well, if I don't marry somebody, if I'm in the church, I got to marry. If I love the Lord, I got to marry somebody, or I can't do that. And if I'm in the world, man, you crazy. So.
Wow. Okay, so that's the woman. Next question is the man. And that is, what does it mean for a man to be a provider? and a protector. How does that look?
Well, if you don't know God, there's a lot of okay. A provider. You know what? Amen. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I met a man. This man went to college, got an education, got a good job, married a woman, raised his kids, sent all the kids to college. All of them were professional. He was still in the marriage when I met him. He provided a home. He provided the opportunity for education. That was a man that was a protector and a provider. That man, that to me, that's an example of a protector and a provider. He did all the things right, but he had one problem. And I asked him about, I said, how you know what God could do for you if you did everything for yourself? He said, I don't, but I did pretty well for myself. So if he gets sick, that's when he go, But anyway, that's a provider to me. A man that, a young man now, and I told a young man this, if you want to have a wife, get a job and get a place. Don't be going after somebody that already got a place. Okay, because then you move it into her environment. Okay, and so if you move into her environment, she can kick you out if you don't act right.
Sound like you've been through that.
No, I ain't never been kicked out, but I've been in that situation.
You moved in her place.
Yeah. Let me see. Did I move in? Oh yeah, I did. Right. My second wife, I moved in her place. Right.
Okay.
I moved in her place. Yeah. And the reason I moved in her place, I was just looking for somebody. I was staying with my mama on my first marriage when my first wife left and went to Memphis, and so I had to go back and regroup. So I went back to my mama house, and then I was tired of being in my mama house. So I was looking for some place to land, and I met a woman, met all the criteria. So I moved into her place, and then we got our place later on.
She met all the criteria.
The ones that I leveled, the ones that I put up there, she met.
Okay.
But there were flags that I ignored.
Right. Okay.
And so
Okay.
I would tell a young man now, don't ignore the flags. They're there for a reason.
Right. That's good. Don't ignore the flags. They're there for a reason. And don't go in to be save a day man. And if you know you are not father material, don't marry her. She have 5 kids.
No, man, because it ain't gonna work for you.
So, hey, that's some good stuff, man. I mean, and it's like a father talking to his son or uncle talking, saying, hey, because if no one ever tells you these things, you may think I'm supposed to, or I got to. You don't even think sometimes you have an option or you don't have to,
Right.
and that happens sometimes. Moving on to the next question. What qualities that you would tell, you hinted on this a little bit already, what are qualities that you would tell a single person who's looking for a potential mate that they should look for? What qualities that person should have
right.
that they're looking to?
Today, whether if it's a man looking for a woman, that man, first of all, has to be a child of God. All right. If he's not a child of God, he's gonna be in a whole lot of because his lenses is based on.
Wait a minute. You say if the man is looking for the woman, the man. I'm trying to say, what qualities should the person look for in a potential mate?
Well, a lot of men look for a woman that has a lot of attributes that their mother had.
Okay.
And so what they do is my mama could cook, mama could clean, mama could, always told you to do the right thing, stuff like that. So they look for somebody with those qualities. Other men, you know, they was giving away, or their mama wasn't there, or whatever the case may be. And their whole thing about quality is that when you meet a woman, if you're a man and you meet a woman, listen to what she says when you meet her. Listen to, because she will unwrap some things in her that you need to pay attention to. You know, like one of the questions you should ask her is that, have you had another boyfriend? And you say, yeah, what happened? And listen, he was this, he was this, he was this, he was this. Now you have an idea, and you should know yourself to know if any of those attributes are in you, right? So therefore, if you know you like that, like what she just described was her last boyfriend, you may think about, you know what, Lord, I ain't trying to go there, because I'll duplicate that. That was me. I don't know how she figured that out. You know what I'm saying? So you shouldn't be so quick because the package is beautiful that you disregard everything. And women, I tell young girls, I got a granddaughter, 14. I told her, living in Ohio, I said, number one, love coming out of a boy's mouth does not give him a right to an invitation of paradise. You, as a young girl, do not allow a person, a male, to come up to you talking about, baby, I love you. You know, if you love me, you'll give me something. No, that is not who gets the paradise.
Okay, so look,
Paradise is for so I'm saying you gotta
right.
raise the bar.
Guard that paradise. It doesn't. Anybody can't get paradise.
No, not paradise. No.
Right. So what would you say to a single person? What quality, what good thing should they look for in a, because in today's society, it's almost like everything goes,
Yes.
right? And so people don't know what they should really look for because society says everything goes, or just, and people just want, I'm gonna be me. So when you're single and you're looking, what quality, what good thing should you make sure that person have?
All right. Number one, look, you meet somebody, right? You spend time with them and see how long they're attentive to you over time without sex. In other words, if you meet somebody and they have a lot of qualities that you like, they know how, you know what was interesting to me? All my life, I would open doors for women. When I met women who say, man, don't be opening my door, that told me a lot, right? Because I was respecting you and I wanted to be man, do a manly thing. But these women, some of these women, they are so hard, man.
So what is the quality that you're telling the single person to look for? What's the good thing you're telling them to look for to make sure that person have?
Do they know how to love God first? Anybody that loves God is going to treat you right. But you got to know what that looks like. So you do. You can't say I love you, but you cussing at your children. You want to beat up somebody because your flesh is all loud. See that you look. Religion will modify your behavior, but it can't change your nature. Your nature can only be changed by a new birth. So if you're talking about quality today, you're looking for somebody that is not religious, somebody that has had a regeneration of the human spirit, somebody who knows God to the degree is that they understand I'm out of order if I go this way with you. I'm out of order if I see, the Bible says think is no evil. So if you got somebody and 10 minutes into the conversation, they think it's something evil. It's the wrong person. They could have a good job. They could have a good car. But they could be in survival mode. They could be so selfish that they want to mask that to get with you. But it will come out. And
so you're saying, right.
have so much love for yourself
Right.
that you don't have to settle for the limousine driver or the guy with a long bank account and he got all these other things going on. You say something, you can't go wrong where a person truly loves Jesus.
They love God. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you just dipped into the next question, which is, what does it mean to settle in a relationship?
Uh, I looked that up.
Okay.
Settle and compromise
Okay.
because I wanted to get the dictionary perspective. Settle has a finality to it. Even back in the day, without having a God mindset, there's certain words if I said, that's it. Back in the day, if I say F it, that's it. It's over. There ain't no
So let me interrupt you. I'm not meaning from that aspect, from that terminology of, okay, that settles it. I'm talking from the aspect of you in a relationship and a person, they're not getting probably what's on their checklist, and they decide to settle for, instead of getting all 10, they settle for all 3. What does that look like to you? Does that look like selling to you, to say, I want 10, but I'm gonna settle for 3? I don't have everything I need, but
that to me that hinges more on compromising than settling, because settling, that's why I came from the position that settling means it's going to be a either or. It's not going to be both. It's a settle. You know, I'm not settling for a poor woman, or I'm not settling for a poor man, or they're in a relationship and they settle because, number one, they're too lazy to go get something else. They settle because settling does not dehumanize them, but it don't get them. If they wanted a diamond and they had to settle for zirconium, they settle for it because they felt that to press it, they may not have nothing.
because some women have said they want a man with 6 figures, who makes 6 figures, but to they end up with a man, or they feel it's settling to be with a man who only makes 75,000.
Okay, number one, if you say that, if you say I want a man to make 100,000,
I've heard that several times. You've heard that,
right? And then you settle for 75,
right?
you compromise.
Okay.
You say, you know, it ain't that big deal. But see,
Okay.
what I did, I said, look, I ain't settling for nobody got kids. So I didn't change. I stayed there. Either you ain't got kids or we ain't got nothing.
Okay.
I didn't settle for anything less than what I wanted to be dealing with.
Right.
All right. But compromise is somebody that, okay, for the sake of a relationship, I'll back up off of other things, all the things that I want, because I want to be in a relationship.
So they back up off their deal breakers.
Yeah, they do.
So what? Yeah. So what was the deal? So to settle, to not settle, is to stand firm on your deal breakers.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right. It was a deal breaker for you if she had kids, and you stood firm on that. You wasn't gonna settle for somebody who did.
Right. Because it didn't make sense to me.
Right.
I'm in material, even though I got kids. I know that I
But
wouldn't go back down that road.
right. But did you also said sometimes a person would compromise because of the situation caused them to compromise.
Right.
And you don't look at
when you
huh?
compromise, to the level that you just did,
Uh-huh.
if you long for what you did not want, but you settled, that's going to be always an issue in your heart.
Mm.
So what's going to happen is when there's conflict, what you settle for all of a sudden comes to the surface. When people are upset, they start, I knew I shouldn't have did this. I knew you was da. You're this and all. That comes out when there's conflict, And
They
so,
told me I shouldn't marry you.
yeah, my daddy told me about you. He told me to leave you alone. And I was just being hard here. I figured you gonna change.
My sister told me you was no good and nasty and rotten.
Yeah, you a verbal abuser, but I settled for it, and now you're abusing me, and I don't like that. Well, why'd you settle? That ain't even compromise. That's settling at your own demise.
Why
Whoa.
do you think, before we go to the next question, real quick, why do you
Yeah,
think people settle?
because they
They
believe
have deal breakers, but then they don't stick to them like you said you did. Why do you think they settle?
that the person has a potential to change.
Mm.
They look at that and say, well, he got potential. Now he ain't all the way there, but he got potential. So they banking
Mm.
on potential. They banking on the potential is going to become the reality. But potential means you
Mm.
ain't there yet. It's a difference between I'm trying to be and be. Okay, people like when I run into people who are saved and they say I'm trying, then I'm saying, well, then you're not. Look, in the world, if you was a liar, you wasn't trying to be a liar. You just a liar. In the world, if you was a manipulator, you wasn't trying to be a manipulator. You was a manipulator. So when you say I'm gonna hook up with this person that got potential, you really are hoping that they don't park at potential. You hope that they come full circle. And so
Okay,
what
I
happens
got you.
if they don't, you end up being settling for less based on
Okay,
the potential.
right, on a potential, That's yeah. And then I think also some people settle because they think less of themselves, They may have a dream or desire, they may have a checklist or whatever, but then because they may feel inadequate, they may not be all that self-assured, and then they end up just settling for someone who doesn't make them feel their best or bring the best version of themselves out. I think that when you're with someone, they should bring the best version of you out. And I think that if you don't, that you may be compromising or settling to your demise because
Loneliness can make you settle. There are people that are lonely and
loneliness will make a person settle
they cannot find
just to have somebody.
somebody, and so they say, you know what? I am tired of being alone. I'm tired. I'm gonna drop my standards
Yeah.
because a half a man is better than no man, or a
I
half.
said he had to be 6'5", but now I take 5'6". I said he had to have
Man,
100,000. I take
man,
50,000 now.
yes, man. And
I said he had to have his own place, crib, but if he got a shack, a mobile home, if he's living in a hotel extended stay, at least I'll go there with him. I
because I'm
just need a man. I just need a woman.
tired of being lonely. I'm just tired of see they tired of being by themselves.
I'm so tired of being alone. I agree. We're gonna move on to the next question. Listen, we down to the last two? What is it about women today that you see that brings disrespect to them? What Talk to the sisters. What is it that they're doing that causes a man to look at them in disrespect?
A woman that has low self-esteem because she's been told by dogs that she ain't gonna mount to nothing. Ain't nobody gonna want her. You was lucky to have me and all this kind of. So low self-esteem can cause a woman to um, have develop a character of you stop respecting yourself because you believe the lie. You believe that you ain't no good. I've heard women tell me, my daddy said I will never get with no man. you know and so low self-esteem is one. The other thing is when today it's like women see don't dress like you advertising sex if you want somebody to treat you not like a sexual object. Okay, well, there are women that the way that these women dress in the day, and they was dressing the same way back in the day.
You
But
call it dress to impress.
yeah, dress to impress,
I
man.
don't get that. Why do you say dress to impress?
Because they're impressing somebody. Look, your shorts are too short. You're showing a little cheek on both sides. So
Daisy do?
what you're really doing is trying to impress a dog. Okay. And so that's what you get. And then you want to know why you come at me like, because you advertising. All right. You telling me, look, I'm sexual first, even before I speak to you. Okay. So if you were, and I'm not telling women to be having dresses all the way down to the ankles and loose clothes so loose, that if the wind blows, you might take off. You got kite outfits. I ain't saying all that. What I am saying is that there should be, you shouldn't now there are women that are big breasted, they can't help themselves. But there's a way you can dress it where now if you're a breast man, I don't care how you dress, the man is going to zero in on that because he's a breast man. All right. So, for that situation, I understand that. Okay. But what I am saying is this.
You understand what?
If you're a breast man, everywhere you go, you're looking at breasts.
I thought you were saying you understand the woman dressing to impress because she got big breasts.
No, I'm saying a woman that got big breasts, there is a way that you would have to dress if you don't want to make the breast the issue to be, in other words, you don't want to be looked upon as a sexual object.
Right.
All right. Because men men inherently are we're moved by what we see. Okay. We move by what we see. And so what I'm saying is I know it's hot here in Atlanta. Atlanta's a player's paradise. So, but you have women, I mean, there is no, look, this whole, and you know what? I guess I'm from the old school. I do not understand the clothing where you got rips going all through them, right? On the pants. And then one lady turned one time and she had rips all the way up to her waist. So she's showing cheeks and stuff. And I'm like, are you real? I mean, it's like there's no limits now. Whatever you want to do, you can do. And then you want to know why somebody coming at you and they see you as a sex object because of the way you're dressing. You're sending the wrong message.
Do you think it's hard for women though to try to, their pool of men is small, so they gotta catch his attention, or music and movies and stuff have shown them that, hey, this is how to do it. So they're trying to find themselves and they want to be found and they want to be seen. But then the flip side, when they do these things to be seen and go get stuff added on so they can be seen, and now they're getting knocked down for doing that. I know Black China, she said she had stuff, added on to her. And then she's now gotten to a place she just want to go back to her government name. And she's had those things taken off her.
Right. Kim Kardashian. reduced. She had herself reduced. So I understand that. Let me say this: all
Right.
women, there are a lot of women, and I'm gonna say
It's like
probably
it's hard for them.
young women is you ask them why you dress that way. They say because I like how I look. I'm not trying to advertise. I just like how it looks. So what they do or what they don't do is they put it on and they say, "Oh, I like how my butt looks. It looks really nice," right? So in their mind, they're not advertising their butt. They like how their butt looks. Okay, so they're justification. Look, I ain't trying. I don't know why men gonna look at you like that. You know, I like how this dress look. I like how these pants fit. All that. So it's a mindset. Now, if you're a Christian, there should be a difference because the Bible says, "Be not conformed to this world," right? So if the culture of our society is clinging and showing and having stuff so tight that you can see all everything, as a Christian woman, you should refrain from that. You there should be a difference where you know somebody they can see your beauty, but what they don't see is they don't see you advertising you know these perfect parts or whatever the case may be. Also,
Perfect point.
also um, when I hear women cussing, I recoil because it just don't sound right. And
Recoil.
like whoa, you know, and
Come on.
because it's like it's a ugly language and it's not necessary. Or talking loud, you know, yo, you know, I mean, come on. It's like femininity and gone out to like, no, we ain't doing that no more. Y'all, we gonna reinvent femininity. In fact, we gonna dress like men, but we ain't gay. Well, how are we supposed to know the difference? The way things are today, it's so man, I am glad who I am and where I am because it is so confusing. I don't know how people doing it today. I don't know how. People are allowing a culture to redefine you what a woman is about. A woman could be with a woman, that's okay. A man could be with a man, that's okay. Kids are trying to decide, well, what gender should I be today? That stuff is crazy. That stuff is insane. And so unless Christians, because those are only people that have the tools to not conform to this world, until they make a change and not be worried about being, for instance, the more that you exhibit Christ, the more the world ain't gonna like you. The more that you exhibit the attributes of God, the more your so-called friends gonna say, and I know this personally because as a Greyhound bus driver and I'm saved, and every time I'm talking to somebody, I'm talking to them about the Lord. When they have a party on Friday night, on Monday, when they talking about it, I say, y'all had a party? I say, yeah, why y'all invite me? Who gonna invite Jesus to a party? Okay, so they wouldn't do it. So all I'm saying is, yeah, there is going to be a price you're gonna pay if you decide that I'm not going to be conformed to this culture is not going to make me compromise my Christianity for a relationship.
Okay. 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 That's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. And that takes a strong mind and a strong person to and a strong relationship with God to be able to be able to um not mind being pushed aside or left out of parties or um but to understand that you are set aside, you're set apart,
Yeah.
and you don't mind being that way. So I got you. Women, hey, he dropped some nuggets as it relate to what it looks like to some guys um, um, when you um, dress a certain way when, from Marty's perspective, but I do know that, I'm gonna move on to the next question. I do know that some women like to be grown and sexy even while they're saved, saved, sanctified, and sexy. At the same time, the just got to do that with
uh, see, okay, define sexy.
yeah. What is sexy?
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. You said something
Sexy,
like,
sexy is different to different people. I've learned that.
right, because you
Somebody may call it classy. Somebody may say it's sexy. Somebody may say you glamorous. Somebody may call glamorous sexy, whatever. So it's different. But I do know that women do like to not look like Sister Act Whoopi, and they want to make sure. You say they shouldn't necessarily. And they want to they see Daisy Dukes or they want to put on something that's refreshing. It may be slightly revealing. I think it's a challenge for some women. I'm telling you, I think these women are finding challenge with everything that they're showing you to wear, and they're saying wear this, and then these things over here look like who want to wear that, and they want to be a part.
that's
But
the,
you gotta have that spirit of discernment within yourself and comfort within yourself, modesty to know, hey, I'm cool with this. I think that if you feel uncomfortable, then maybe that's definitely a sign. But to what you're saying, there's some people who feel comfortable because they say, I like when, because I do know a lot of sisters, they do take pictures on the side, like profiles and stuff. They like take
what?
pictures.
I want to ask a woman one question, because this boggles my mind. Why wear a skirt that every 5 minutes you got to keep pulling it down? Why do you wear a skirt that, like it was in the store the other day? This woman had a skirt on, right? She walking out, so she pulling it down. Then she walks some more to go back up. She pulled it down. Why did you put that skirt on and then you spend all day pulling it down when you walking? I don't get that one.
Well, it's because
Put
she
that on
wanted the skirt to stay here, and then the skirt was sliding up, and so she wanted to pull it back to that point. It's stay here skirt.
Well, then put something down there to make it stay there. Put a little tape on it or something. Cause I say it all the time. Women walk down there, and this girl, she put her eggs down so she could pull a skirt down. And then she walk a little bit more and then put the milk down and got to put a skirt back there.
Okay, so let's be real about it. Let's come real.
Right.
Does that bother you when you see that?
No, I just think it's funny. Cause see, I'm not. It's entertaining. It's like
It's entertaining. It's not enticing.
No, cause I'm not eligible.
No. No, I'm talking about what you see, not whether you're eligible.
It'll draw my. See, in other words, if you didn't do anything with your skirt, it probably wouldn't have drawn me to you.
Oh.
So when you do stuff like that, right? In other words, you walk in, and if you just walk, you doing your thing, I'm doing your thing, you walk by, and if you're nice looking, I look at you because you're nice. But if you start pulling stuff and closing up, you got too much chest showing. Now you're drawing attention to these things. That's what I'm saying.
I know you said you saw some woman the other day in Walmart. We was in Walmart, and she had her cheeks out or something.
Yeah, that blew my mind. I thought I was looking for a security guard. That's just indecent. This woman had on them shorts, and then she had the cheek part cut out. So you got straight up cheeks on both sides. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
She was hot, man.
I know it's hot in Atlanta, but my God, that is crazy.
I remember you was like, security, let her walk around like that.
Man, I was shocked. I mean, I didn't know people could do that. I mean, in a store with kids and all that, it don't matter no more. There are no. Anyway, that's.
So we going on to our last question.
Yeah. My goodness, want to know why somebody want to jump on you? You advertising, my goodness. And the girl had a nice set of cheeks.
Well, that ain't no reason, right? I'm gonna tell anybody, I don't care how somebody dress or whatever, it ain't no reason to jump on nobody
Yeah.
to harass anybody,
Right.
sexually assault anybody. There's no reason. I don't
Right.
care how they. So that thing of some people saying, "Hey, that's why." No, I don't. I don't. You know, you.
Right.
That's when you operate in self control. Go the other way, look the other way, or whatever. You know. Um, that's almost like just because somebody run off at the mouth and you gonna like, hey, I'm gonna hit them. You know, no, they go off on their mouth. You operate in self control and you keep it trucking. You know. But yeah,
Man,
but yeah. I just want to throw that out there. PSA.
man, can
But
you reaching for some eggs and they're down below, and a woman next to you, she reaching for something over there, and she bent over, and you got two cheeks just looking at you.
no,
You
I
know,
see that. Listen,
you
we
got time.
as guys, we see this all the time. We see it in church, trying to praise the Lord, and sister come over. You know, we used to talk about this in men's meeting. The men's meeting, they used to have there was so many men in there who was like, man, I'm trying. You know, these sisters be coming and they be passing the piece and they got a hug. They be laying their breasts all on you and everything, you know. And they was talking about how it just messed them up, you know. So, but it also the other day I was in the grocery store and I was looking and there was a sister and I was on this side of her and then there was a guy who was coming up, down, and she was boomed over, you know, and just just in such a way that all of her was in his way, in the aisle, right?
Right.
um I don't know if she was trying to get his attention or whatever, but he looked, you know, and he went on around. He didn't say excuse me to her. He didn't say anything. He just moved on and squeezed around her and kept it moving. And she was the one when she saw him move past her say, "Oh, my butt was all in your way," you know. And he just kept it going. And so I do see women do that sometimes. It's like they're putting themselves out there like that. But I also think that some of them just trying to be seen. They're trying to. I mean, I don't know. That's why we're having the show so some women can even share some things or whatever, because everybody forms their own mindset to
Right.
things,
Right.
and you want to hear from them. This is why I do that. This is why I've done that, or this is why my girl did that, or whatever. You know, because I don't like to knock anybody. I like to understand everybody. The Bible says, "In all I get and get an understanding." So it comes from somewhere, you know. There's something to that. So I just like to understand and not, but at the same time, to each his own. Last question, last question, last question. As we get ready to wrap this up, man, this has been good. This has really been good. Talking to 70-year-old Marty Williams, who's dropping some nuggets on us as he answered these 10 questions regarding to help the mind of those who are single. The last question for you today, sir, is what are your thoughts and how essential you think it is for a person to be self-aware before pursuing a relationship so that they can be transparent about their own flaws?
Oh, no doubt it would make a huge difference uh, if you were self-aware. I believe that a lot of people, based on other people's opinion of them, and therefore they haven't formulated a self-awareness that, because of, I think that what I'm learning at 70, that people, if you're not aware of self-aware, you need to go to the professional people that would help you become self-aware. A lot of people deceive themselves and say, "Oh, I know me," and they don't. They know what they like. They know what they don't like, but there's not this self-awareness, because self-awareness is deeper than that. Okay. And I don't believe that you can obtain self-awareness outside of God. I just don't think so. And so am I telling you all right?
I'm good.
you know, yeah, it's a hard thing, man, to try to be self-aware. See, listen, we are spirit beings having a human experience. That's who we are. We are spirit beings having a human experience. How you gonna get self-awareness if you don't know who you really are? This flesh is an earth suit, but it's not who you, it's what you need in order to function in this dimension. So in the ability to get self-awareness, you must go to the author, mm, because he will tell you who you are. And so um and that's the beauty of being a child of God, that we have the manual, that as we apply it to our lives, we become self-aware of who we are and whose we are. And and what God gives us is all the tools to navigate through this world. And so, but I also understand the challenges that are before people, men and women. You know, I feel for, when I was in California, I heard that the teachers were teaching little kids in elementary school that they don't have to settle for the biological makeup the way they were born, that they can switch up and all this, and I just think that's harmful. It's deadly. It's dangerous. And yet we have a culture out here now where people are nice of what they was born with, and so um self-awareness. How you gonna get self-awareness without knowing God? How? He's the author of humanity. How you gonna go somewhere else and try to get a definition that suits your flesh? You can't. I'm sorry, you can't. You cannot. mm, it
And so it creates a problem when you are pursuing a relationship with someone else and you don't even know yourself yet.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
your own identity.
Yeah.
And you're trying to mix and mingle with someone else who either still trying to find themselves. So now both of y'all at that zone, or either someone who are well aware of who they are, where they're going, what they want. Now you may be a distraction for them.
Yeah. And let me, in closing, let me say this. I met a
Okay.
young lady who was married to a woman, and I
A
oh
young lady who was married to a woman.
right,
Okay.
and so I didn't get all that. I didn't do none of that. So I said,
You didn't do that?
no, no, we
Wow.
were on a team. And
Huh?
so, no, I didn't do that. What I did was,
That's
I said,
good.
how long you been, how long you been like this? She said, all my life. I said, really? She said, yeah. I said, oh, I'm glad to hear that. She said, what? I said, you've been like that all your life, right? Yeah. I said, you know what? Check this out. All you got to do is be born again. You'll have a new nature. She looked at me. She said, what'd you say? And I told her again. I said, you were born this way, so you had this nature to, navigate towards women. So if you become born again, you'll have a new nature. And so I didn't beat her all up and everything. I would just tell, because I've also told men that, who have told me they've been born this way. You know, I've been as all. I said, ain't no problem. Just be born again. You have a new nature. You know, and so I don't beat them up, but I do know that God's ordained for mankind is men to be with women and women to be with men. That's why we connect so well. But if you don't know him, I didn't know, I didn't have self-worth before I got saved. I took all kind of chances in life. Why? I didn't have no self-worth. I was a menace to society. I just did whatever came into my mind to do, I did it. No matter how crazy it was, no matter at the peril of somebody else, it didn't matter. And so I thank God that when he saved me, that I saw the difference, because if you're walking in darkness, you think everything is cool. And so I believe, I pray that this platform not only shows people that we are all from society and we've all been, we didn't come out, say most of us, you know what I'm saying? And so a long life journey, and I'm gonna tell you, grace and mercy took me this far, where my bad choices, bad decisions could have took me out. But it was God's grace and mercy that navigated me through the wrong choices. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it right there.
And there was a lady just the other
That's
day that when I told her that I was 70, she says, young man, that's a miracle, because black folks, black men are not making it to 70. They're getting killed for all many different reasons.
yeah,
So you to
yeah,
be 70, man, that's a blessing
yeah, and especially for the life that
that
you
I
live. It's a blessing, and it's been a blessing for us having you here tonight, sharing with us um from your experiences, from your many years. This is important to me because this is going to be a forever in the land, part of your legacy that's able to hopefully continue to help empower singles, help renew people's mind and transform their lives. And sometimes it's one thing that you can say sometimes that'll open up somebody's eyes, in a different way, cause somebody to just maneuver, navigate through life, through singlehood in a different way. And so even if it's said that I don't want to do like she did or like he did, I don't want to be like that. They told me not to go that way, even for somebody to realize, hey, I got options. I don't have to succumb to this. So we never know what it is. But I thank you, my brother. I love you so much. Appreciate you for joining us. To all of you who tuned in, I thank you so much. And I ask you to continue to look at all the upcoming episodes. Go back and look at the previous ones. If you missed any, share them with people. Please like, please subscribe, please support us. If you can help us financially in any way, please Cash App or Zelle us at 404-901-8591. The information should be at the end. Hey, if you decide that you want me to give you a shout out or your business a shout out and you want me to wear a certain hat, a certain shirt or tie, whatever, send it on in. Touch base with us. I'll let you know. If it's not out there, crazy, I'm aware and give you a shout out. Let us make this a family affair, all right? And I want you to just feel a part. If you decide that you want to be a guest and come and tackle these 10 questions, you can do that. We welcome you to do that. We are constantly evolving and expanding, but as we're doing that, we want you to be intentional about doing those things that make your life better. All right? Y'all be good. God bless you. Love you, Marty. Thank you, man.